Hey, you made it. I'm really glad you're here. If you're cozy under your blanket, maybe with one leg sticking out because you like a little adventure, welcome. Are you snuggled up in bed, or maybe you're on a couch with a soft pillow? Picture this, you're warm, safe, and ready for a calm story to help you drift off. I'm so happy you're here with me tonight. Before we start, I want to know something fun about you. Where are you listening from? Are you in a big city with bright lights or a quiet little town where you can hear crickets? Maybe you're somewhere far away like by a beach or in a snowy place. And what time is it where you are? Is it late at night or maybe early in the morning? I love hearing about where you are. It makes me feel like we're sharing this moment, even if I'm just a voice talking to you. I stay up late sometimes, like a sleepy raccoon with big, tired eyes, reading your answers and smiling. Tonight we're going to talk about something kind of funny and a little gross, but it's perfect for helping you feel sleepy. Our story is called Boring History for Sleep, 10 Disgusting Habits That Kept Medieval Towns Alive and more. Don't worry if that sounds weird. I'll keep it simple and cozy so you can relax and maybe even giggle a little before you fall asleep. Let's set the scene. A long time ago, way back in medieval times, people lived in small towns made of wood and mud. These towns were not like our towns today. There were no big stores, no cars, no bright lights. Instead, there were tiny houses, animals wandering around, and lots of smells, some nice, some not so nice. People had habits that might make you say "ewa," but those habits helped them live and keep their towns going. Things like throwing trash in the street or letting pigs eat scraps might sound gross, but they were important back then. We'll talk about all of that, but in a slow, calm way so you can feel nice and sleepy. Imagine you're lying down in one of those old towns right now. The air is cool and you can hear soft sounds like a cow mooing far away or a fire crackling in a nearby house. The world feels small and quiet. There's no phone buzzing, no TV blaring, just you and the night. That's the kind of story we're diving into tonight. It's going to be gentle, a little silly, and full of things that make you feel warm and ready to rest. Let's talk about what medieval towns were like. They were busy places, but not like our busy cities. People woke up when the sun came up and they went to bed when it got dark. They didn't have clocks like we do, so the sun was their clock. Everyone worked together, farmers, bakers, people who made clothes, and even kids who helped with chores. The towns were full of animals too. Chickens clucked, pigs snorted, and goats wandered around eating anything they could find. Sometimes people didn't clean up after the animals, so the streets could get pretty messy. But that mess had a purpose. It helped the town stay alive in its own way. One habit that might sound gross was how they dealt with trash. They didn't have garbage trucks or big bins like we do. Instead, they tossed food scraps, old straw, and even broken pots right into the street. You might think, yuck, why would they do that? But animals like pigs would eat the scraps and the rest would mix into the dirt. It wasn't pretty, but it kept the town from piling up with too much stuff. Plus, some of that trash would go to the fields to help plants grow. It's weird to think about, but it worked for them. Another funny habit was how people used animals to clean up. Pigs and dogs roamed the streets, gobbling up bits of food that fell or got thrown out. Imagine a pig walking by your house, snuffling around for apple cores or bread crusts. It's kind of cute, but also a little smelly. These animals were like the town's cleanup crew. They didn't have fancy machines, so they let animals do the job. It was a simple way to keep things tidy, even if it wasn't super clean. Water was a big deal too. People didn't have pipes or faucets like we do. They had to walk to a well or a river to get water. Sometimes the water wasn't very clean, but they used it anyway for cooking, washing, or even drinking. They didn't know about germs like we do now, so they just did their best. Carrying water was hard work, and it made people tired by the end of the day. That tiredness helped them sleep so well, which is perfect for our sleepy story tonight. Let's think about the houses in these towns. They were small, made of wood, mud, and straw. The roofs were often straw too, which we call thatch. Inside, there was usually just 1 or 2 rooms for the whole family. Everyone slept close together, sometimes even with their animals nearby to keep warm. The beds weren't soft like ours. They were made of straw or old cloth, and they could be lumpy. But after a long day of work, those beds felt so good to lie down on. Can you imagine sinking into a straw bed, hearing it rustle under you? It's not fancy, but it's cozy in its own way. The smells in a medieval town were something else. You'd smell smoke from fires, baking bread, animals, and sometimes things that weren't so nice, like the pile of manure outside for the fields. People were used to it, though. They didn't have air fresheners or fancy soaps. They just lived with the smells, and somehow it all felt like home. Those smells might make you giggle now, but they were part of life back then. People in medieval towns worked hard. They grew food, made clothes, fixed tools, and took care of animals. Everyone had a job, even kids. A little boy might chase chickens into their pen, or a girl might help her mom stir a big pot of soup. All that work made their bodies tired, and when it was time to sleep, they were ready. The town would get quiet at night with just a few sounds like the wind or a dog barking. It was a peaceful kind of quiet, the kind that makes you want to close your eyes. One thing that's really interesting is how they thought about sleep. They didn't have electric lights, so when it got dark, it was time to rest. They didn't stay up late scrolling on phones or watching shows. The darkness told them it was time to slow down. Sometimes they'd wake up in the middle of the night for a little while. They might pray, talk softly, or just lie there. Then they'd go back to sleep. It was like 2 little naps in one night. Isn't that kind of neat? Food was another big part of their day. They ate simple things like bread, soup, or porridge made from grains and vegetables. They didn't have pizza or ice cream, but their food was warm and filling. Before bed, they might have a bowl of porridge, which made their stomachs feel full and their eyes feel heavy. Imagine eating a warm bowl of soup by a fire with the room getting darker and quieter. It's like the perfect recipe for a good night's sleep. The fires in their homes were super important. They used them for cooking, warmth, and light. At night, they'd cover the fire with ashes to keep it safe until morning. That moment when the fire got low and the room got dim was like a signal to go to bed. Everyone would get quiet, pull their blankets close, and let the night take over. People in medieval towns had little rituals before bed, just like you might brush your teeth or read a story. They'd check the door to make sure it was closed tight. They'd fold their clothes or tuck in their kids. Maybe they'd say a little prayer or just whisper good night to each other. These small things made them feel safe and ready to rest. Dreams were a big deal back then. People thought dreams were like messages from God or signs about the future. If you dreamed about a river, it might mean something big was coming. If you dreamed about bread, it might mean you'd have enough food. They'd wake up and think about their dreams, but not in a worried way, just in a calm, curious way. Then they'd drift back to sleep. Some nights weren't perfect. Maybe it was too cold, or a baby was crying, or the wind was loud. But they still found a way to sleep. They knew that rest was important, even if things weren't perfect. They didn't stress about it like we sometimes do. They just let sleep come, and it always did. Life in a medieval town wasn't easy, but it had a kind of magic. Everyone was connected to each other, to the animals, to the land. They needed each other to survive, and that made them feel important. Even the gross habits, like tossing scraps to pigs or piling manure for fields, were part of keeping the town alive. It wasn't clean or fancy, but it was home. Sometimes, funny things happened at night. Maybe a goat got loose and started chewing on someone's shoe. Or maybe someone rolled over in bed and bumped into their brother and they both laughed. Those little moments made life feel warm and real, even if it was a bit silly. The best part about medieval life was how simple it was. They didn't have a million things to worry about. They worked, ate, laughed, and slept. The same things happened every day, like a song that never changed. That rhythm made sleep come easily. They didn't need perfect beds or quiet rooms. They just needed the dark and their tired bodies. Compared to us, they might have slept better. We have so many things: phones, lights, noise that keep us awake. They had the night, the stars, and the quiet. The dark was like a friend, wrapping them up and helping them rest. They didn't fight it, they just let it happen. Sleep wasn't something they earned. They didn't have to finish a big project or win a prize to feel okay about sleeping. They just lay down and let it come. Even on hard days when the crops didn't grow or the rain was heavy, they still rested. They knew their bodies needed it, and they let themselves have it. So as we start this story, imagine you're in that medieval town. You're lying on a straw bed, hearing the soft sounds of the night. The fire is low, the air is cool, and you're safe. The world is quiet, and you don't have to do anything but rest. Let's go deeper into this world together, slowly and gently. We'll meet a woman named Beatrice who lives in this town, and we'll see how her day goes, step by step, until she's ready to sleep. For now, just close your eyes and picture that little town all cozy and calm. We're going to have a nice, sleepy journey together. Good night, my friend. Let's start. Imagine a little town from a long, long time ago. This was a medieval town.